My name is John Jeffery. I'm a senior. This is was my last year wrestling. It was a lot of fun. Didn't turn out the greatest towards the end, but I had a lot of fun. Wrestling is an awesome sport. Helps you learn a lot of discipline. I do feel it'll help me a lot in my future life. Last thing for my senior year, I didn't place at state. Didn't do too well in my last blood round match. Got put on my back with 40 seconds left. Got beat, but what do you do? But it was a good year to finish on. I had a lot of fun this year, helping out my teammates and my teammates helping me out, and all my coaches. I appreciate them a lot.
I'm Jacob Ellingson. I'm a junior, and I wrestle 165. It was a good season. We started out with a lot of guys, and then as the season went on, more and more injuries happened, and our numbers kind of slimmed down a little bit. So by the time we got to state, we only had 3 guys that qualified, and we couldn't fill a full lineup even at regionals, which was, it's tough to not have every weight filled, but we still came, we showed up, and I'm happy with how we performed at regionals. We had a lot of guys place 5th, so we're right on the threshold of having just about our whole team go to state. And I mean, for a season with a younger team and not having every weight filled, I'm really happy with how it went. We showed up at most of the tournaments. We had a lot of guys in the finals at just about every tournament, and just put up good competition this year against tough opponents. We go to a lot of hard tournaments, so to see our younger guys, our newer guys improve across the season is really good for our team. I qualified for state, but unfortunately I didn't place. I kind of fell apart in the blood round, so next year looking to come back to state, wrestle hard, and hopefully place.
My name is Parker Graveman. I am a sophomore, and I wrestled 132 this year. And overall, it was a really good season. You know, we had a bunch of young kids, a lot of freshmen. We don't have very many older people like juniors and seniors. But overall, I feel we did really well. We had a bunch of new guys that were freshmen that kind of got the feel of it. And they were on our JV lineup, a lot of them were. And so they got the feel of it, they got used to it. And so I was one of the 3 that qualified for state. I ended up having a pretty good state tournament. I made it to the semis. And after I lost in the semis, I lost in overtime. I kind of just fell apart after that. You know, I lost in the consi semis to get into 3rd and 4th, and I was defeated after that. And that's something I really need to work on, is not having that defeat and just move on to my next match and wrestle the best I know I can. So I ended up taking 6th, which I'm still pretty happy with. It's better than I did last year. And overall, I feel like it was a really good season, really good experiences, and I feel everyone had a fun time, and everyone can improve throughout the entire season. And hopefully next year we'll have the same kids come out, and everyone will do better, and we'll have more state qualifiers.
We're with John Bokker at the Spearfish Spartans wrestling room to review the boys wrestling season and the state tournament.
Well, going into regions, we had 4 guys seeded, so we were hoping to qualify all those guys. I had another guy that I was 90% sure he was going to get through too, but we ended up with 3 state qualifiers. We had 7 other guys take 5th, and only the top 4 go into state. Out of those guys, we did have 7 sophomores in our lineup, 3 juniors and a senior. So we're pretty young. That 5th place, I mean, should be motivational for those guys, because they're almost there this year, and I'm looking forward to those guys working hard in the off season and getting there next year. So when we went to state, we did take Parker Graveman at 132. He ended up taking 1st at region. He was seeded 4th. We beat D. Daniels from Sturgis, and then we ended up beating Brown from Rapid City Central too. So those are really 2 tough wrestlers that we had to overcome in regionals just to get out of there. John Jeffery qualified for state too. He took 3rd in the region, and Jacob Ellingson took 3rd in the region. So heading to state, we had those 3 guys. John was seeded 7th, Jacob was 10th, and Parker was 6th going into state. So we knew we had a tough road ahead of us going into there. John, first round match, we right away get thrown to our back, so we're down 5-0. He did come back but just missed that first match. And when you lose that first match in state, the road back is not an easy one. So he ended up, wrestling back, getting that next match, and then we were winning with 30 seconds left in the match, and we got in a weird scramble, and our leg got caught underneath. So he ended up getting some back voice on us, and we lost. So that was a real heartbreaker for John. I know that getting on the podium was a big deal for him, especially after taking third the year before. It was a heartbreaker for me too, because I mean he's such a good kid. He deserves to be up there on the podium for sure. Then Jacob Ellingson, he was seated 10th. Had to wrestle the number 7 guy, who was actually probably should have been the number 2 guy. His name was Chapman from Brandon Valley. He was 9-1 going into that match, and we thought if we could take him into the third period, we'd have a chance. But he ended up beating us. We did wrestle back, won the next one, and then we wrestled the guy from West Central that eventually ended up taking third. Right away, we ankle picked him, and we had him in a cradle right away, so it was pretty exciting. But he got out and ended up cradling us back, and so Jacob didn't make the podium. But next year, I already talked to him today. He's starting to work out already. We're getting ready for next year immediately. Then Parker Graveman. Parker had a great seat, I thought. We had to once again face D. Daniels in the quarterfinals. We ended up beating him, and then we faced Bentley Williams, who was number 2. We went into overtime with him. Ended up losing in overtime, and then Bentley ended up winning a state title. He beat the guy 11-1 in the finals. So the guy we went to overtime with ended up taking it. We did wrestle back. I was hoping to get in for third and fourth, but we ended up losing by 1 point to a guy we beat earlier in the year. We had him on his back, but we didn't quite get the takedown, so we were just like basically a hand away from going in for third and fourth. So Parker worked his tail off this offseason, and he proved it, and he showed that he lost in the blood round last year. This year he was basically a hand or 1 point away from being in that state championship. So really proud of those guys, and looking forward to Parker and Jacob next year. And we're gonna definitely miss John. But all those guys, those young guys, we have 12 sophomores on our team. We have 3 juniors, and then 9 freshmen. So we're young, and we're coming back hungry next year, and we're looking forward to that. I'd like to thank my coaching staff. Corey Newhart, amazing guy. He takes these guys in the offseason. They do a lot of freestyle wrestling. Trent Olson, young guy who has a great career ahead of him for coaching. He had an excellent wrestling career, D1. Max Donovan, I mean, he's a great coach. I couldn't appreciate those guys anymore. And then Shane Graveman helped out too in our room. So really appreciative of my coaching staff, my guys, and back to work next week to get work for next year.
All right, Coach, always appreciate taking time to visit, and we look forward to next year.
Yeah, thanks. We're looking forward to next year too. So thank you.